Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about Markdown files. So basically Markdown files is a very important and deeply used concept in developers life. And first of all we should go that what is this, what is the basic information about it. So I have created one Markdown file here in my VS Code, and on the right side we have a preview of that Markdown file, and on the left side I have created that Markdown file, and on my other screen I have created this one gist. This is the preview of GIST file, and let me edit this as well so you can see what's the actual version of this. So basically this MD file here on my GitHub profile and here in VS Code, both are same. So and I will also share this MD file in description of my video as well, so you don't need to worry about. And I will also add link of my this video in comments of this gist as well. So let me get back to the preview of this gist. So this is the basic info about the Markdown file. It is mostly used by the by the developers who are basically documenting any project. So they need to use it. So basically the history about it is that it was created by John Gruber and Ann Swartz in 2004, created the Markdown language with the idea of enabling people to write using easy to read and write plain text format. So basically for those people who are not that much familiar with the code, and they need to write some UI and some documentation of the project, so to provide them some easy syntax, so after the real developers will be able to easily convert that MD syntax into HTML as well. So some like for example, if someone is gathering requirement, some UI developer is gathering requirement, and then he or she needs to convert that requirements document into an HTML. So that is also one of the purpose, that quickly he can convert MD files to HTML as well. But today obviously there are other ways of creating HTML as well. Many dynamic ways, even from PNG and JPG files can be directly converted to HTML as well. But that was the main purpose of MD files, but now they are mostly used for other purposes, and not for only to create HTML or XHTML. These days these are mostly used in Stack Overflow. Let me quickly go to that section, that the places where this is mostly used in Stack Overflow, like where we are questioning, or while we are giving answers. This is the syntax we mostly used, and after using that syntax our question or our answer is directly converted to HTML and rendered on stackoverflow.com, and also on GitHub issues. While we are commenting something on the GitHub issue, or commenting someone using discussions or in pull request, we can use MD syntax to quickly refer some code, or use features. And also in WebEx or in other Discord, other community discussion platforms, MD syntax is also very widely used, and also on Slack as well. So, and on WebEx as well. Very WebEx is a community discussion and interaction platform developed by Cisco. So let me show you some of the main features of Markdown. So as you can see that there are, first of all, there are headers in Markdown files, and headers can be created using hash and then space and then the string of the header in this way. And we can see all the headers quickly. We can move directly to all the headers using, first of all, using VS Code outline feature. It is from the Explorer. There is an outline section here, and from that outline section, all the headers which are present in this current MD file, we can see all those headers, and we can directly move to those headers as well, and including subheaders as well. So this is the first way of quickly switching to any header files. And there are other ways of in VS Code there are other ways to quickly shift to headers as well. And the other way is with this shortcut Control Shift O, and here we can see all the headers which are present in the current MD file, and we can directly we can also type as well. Auto completion feature is also present, and we can directly move to our required header. And there is one other approach as well. If we want to search headers and move to any other header present in all Markdown files in current workspace, we can use Ctrl+T, and here we can see all the headers which are present in all Markdown files in current workspace. You can go to this as well, and also we can create links with the header. Like here you can see I have created a link name is GFM, and this is the link. This is basically a let me show you in preview side as well. And here you can see this is the link I have created for the GFM header, and if I click on it, it will move to the required header. And in this way we can also move to our required headers as well. And we can also move to create links to headers present in other MD files as well. So this was about the headers, and now we should move to other features of MD files. Code snippets from command palette. So basically we can use all the features of markdowns, like we can use bold syntax in this way. Here you can see in the preview side we can use bold syntax, italic, strike through words like this. And if we use without space, we use static and then our word and then static. In this way the word will be italic. In this way, if we use two statics, then the word will be bold. If we use double tilde before and double tilde afterwards, then the word will be strike through. And we can also use a combination of bold and italic text as well. We can also if all bold and all italic combination can also be used in this way. Subscript can also be used, like here you can see there is a word and there is a one which is a bit at the bottom. This is a subscript syntax we can use. We can use superscript syntax as well, and we can also use code as well. Like for example, there is a single liner code we want to send someone. We can use this syntax as well, using those commas which are not straight. And we can also send code block to some other person using this syntax. So these are the main features of Markdown files. You can also insert images here. Like here you can see that this is my picture present at this local file, and we can insert those pictures as well using this syntax. So first of all, we have to use this colon and then the name, and then this is basically alternative text. That if the link is not clear, then this alternative text should be shown instead of the image. And this is another feature of Markdown files as well, that if the link is not valid, this is only valid for VS Code, that if the link is not valid, then VS Code would show an error. Like let me show you with an example, that this is my image, and if I will rename this image in this way, and now if I will go back, you can see that it is showing warning that this is not the correct URL. And if I will update here as well, now the warning is gone, and you can see a correct image without a warning. That is another feature of Markdown in VS Code. This is please note that this is only valid for VS Code, and if I will create any external link like a link to Stack Overflow or google.com, then it will not validate those links. And find all references to headers and links. This is also a feature of VS Code. Like let me show you this with an example for relative links. If I will highlight this relative link, and then I will right click on it, and then I will select find all references, and it will basically show that at which places and on which files this header is being linked. It was so for GFM it should work, because GFM, this header is linked upwards, but as it is a sub header, I will highlight its main header, right click on it, find all references, and here you can see it is showing me that this GFM is linked here on this line. So this feature is also present. This is basically not a feature of Markdown files. It is mostly a feature present in VS Code, like if we are developing something in JavaScript or in other languages. At that time, if we are we can see references for any function. We can also use this feature as well, that for example, on which files this function is being called. And we can also use renaming feature or rename symbol feature here as well, like that if any header will be replaced, and then all its references will be replaced as well. So let me show you this with an example. At that above here we have a GFM syntax here, and if I highlight this and then click F2 or rename symbol, and if I hit GFM update, enter, and then you can see above where it was being referenced, here it is updated as well. So this renaming feature works, and this interlink between the headers and their references works very closely. So that is also a very good feature of VS Code. This also works for other languages as well. Or this also works that if any file is being referenced, and if that file or image is being renamed or moved, then those references present in Markdown files will also be updated. And this is another feature preview. Like you can already see that on my left side I have an MD file, and on the right side I have a preview of that MD file. And if I am scrolling, scrolling is also working very nice, that they are very closely related to each other. If I scroll on the left side, right side also scrolls, and if I scroll on the right side, left side also scrolls. So this is a preview feature also present in VS Code and in the browsers as well. Like here on my GitHub profile, this is a preview of my same MD file, but here as my picture is not present, so basically it is showing invalid, and if I click on it, it says that there is not any file of photo JPG present, because obviously my photo is not present on my GitHub profile, it is present locally, so link is not working there. That's another feature of MD, that we can use custom CSS as well in our Markdown files. For that we have to use some CSS file here locally, and then we can use that CSS file to customize our preview as well. I'm not going into details of this thing. For that you can Google, but my main purpose of this video is to just show the main features of any Markdown file. We can use custom CSS as well, and this is basically the feature present in VS Code, that for any to preview line breaks, we have to use we have to use double space at the end. And in my settings I have turned this off, and that's why everything is shown in the second line. So basically the main thing is that like on this line, using on CSS and CMS in preview, there, we have to enter double line and then enter, and then in preview thing that will be shown on the second line, and if we will not use double space, then it will be shown on the same line. By default, what VS Code does, that it removes trailing white spaces. Like if I have entered these two spaces and I save this, what VS Code will do, it will remove those trailing white spaces. But if we have turned this off, then VS Code will not remove those trailing white spaces, it will preserve them. And if those trailing white spaces will be preserved, then in the preview thing, the other line will be shown on the second line. And there is a security thing also present in preview of Markdown, that by default, if there are some external links, that it only works for HTTPS or secure links, and it doesn't work for simple HTTP links or the links which are vulnerable to attack. But we can obviously override this setting from the settings section of VS Code, but I will recommend to not do so. So these were the main basic features of MD syntax, and this was the section which I skipped. I intentionally skipped that to cover that after. So basically from Control Shift P in VS Code, and then entering snippets, insert snippet. Here we can use all the basic features of Markdown. Like here you can see, if I will enter code, and here it has where my cursor were present, it has created a basic shortcut to code as well. And here in between I can use some language like hello world, where it is being printed. Yeah, it is being printed live here, and here you can see it is being shown in the form of code, like okay. So we can use other things as well, like there is a shortcut of code snippets also present in VS Code. There's a color schemes features also present in VS Code in this way, and you need to note that the visibility of colors is supported in GitHub comments, GitHub discussions, and GitHub pull request only as well. So we can use colors in Markdown files, but those colors will be previewed only in GitHub section, GitHub comments, discussions, and pull requests, and we will not be visible on VS Code preview section, and also not be visible on this gist.github.com. So basically this is some color. What it will do, if we are present in some GitHub issue, then it will preview it color as well, in some dark colored circle, and it will show that color as well. So links is the main and the most, I think, the most important section of Markdown files. Here we can reference the external links as well, like this site was built using GitHub Pages, and we can directly click here, and it will redirect us to this GitHub Pages page as well, and it will work from this GitHub section as well. And there is some other thing, that if some URL is present at some other place, like you can see that URL is present, and you want to use that URL and don't want to copy here again and again, like you can see, if for this section the Stack Overflow link is being present at the bottom here, this Stack Overflow is link, and actually you can see that Stack Overflow link is present at the bottom, but I want to use that link here on the top. What I will do is, I will use the string which I want to display to the user, and then another square brackets. Here you need to note the difference, that if there is a directly used link, then we have to use small brackets, and if we have to use indirect links, then we have to use another square bracket being followed by a square bracket, another square bracket, and in this square bracket we will use a reference, and that reference should match to this reference, and then followed by a colon. This colon is very important, and then a link. So in this way, when I will click on this Stack Overflow, like here, it will use the link which is present at the bottom. I click on it, and now stackoverflow.com is open in the browser. And in this way, in the same way, it works on browser side as well. But there is one thing, we can use local links for this as well, and there is one web frameworks.txt file present locally. We can use that as well. If I click here, and once again note that web frameworks.txt file actual path is being present at some other place, but I want to use that link here. And now if I click on web frameworks.txt, our txt file is being open, but obviously this will not work here, because this txt file is not present on our GitHub profile, and here it is showing me 404 error, not found. So this was the links section, and we can use relative links as well, that if some on my local path some file is not present directly on our current path, and it is present on some other path, then we can use relative links as well. We can also add images in Markdown files, images which is present on some CDN on some remote path, or also if those are presently more locally. Like here you can see we are showing the picture of a cat present on some remote path. And there is some dynamic approach we can also use while showing images, and that dynamic approach is can be based on the current theme we are being in. Like here you can see on VS Code, there is a condition that if the current theme is being light, then the sun should be shown, and if the current theme is being dark, then moon will be shown. That is the current condition being used here in this small piece of code. And in the VS Code you can see the sun is being shown, but on the browser you can see there is a moon, because on the browser it only works, note that it only works on the browser side, and it doesn't work on other environments. Like VS Code is not a browser environment, so here it shows sun because it's not a dark mode. And if there is a dark mode, here on my browser there is a dark mode, and then that's why it is showing me the sun, it is showing me the moon. So we can also use dynamic approach, conditional media queries type approach in while rendering images as well in Markdown files. There is another important section for Markdown files, and there that is related to list. We can show unordered lists in Markdown files. We can use ordered lists as well. In ordered list we should use numbers, and in unordered list we can use all these three symbols. We can use static, we can use plus, we can use minus sign, and in ordered list we need to use number. But it is not compulsion for us that we use numbers in order. We can use a same number, but while rendering Markdown IntelliSense will use that in a sequence. We can also use nested list items as well in the same way. And then another we can use task list approach as well in Markdown. In task list approach you can see that it is not being rendered properly, and it is not a feature of Markdown which works in VS Code, and but it works in browser as well. Like here you can see that we can create a checkbox type approach that if some there is a to-do list we need to create, that we can use this feature as well. It is working perfectly fine in browser, but it doesn't work in local VS Code. And we can also use in Markdown sections we can also mention people, but obviously on VS Code preview thing this will not work, but it will work perfectly fine in GitHub section, but not in gist.github.com, but it will work in GitHub issues, GitHub discussions, or GitHub pull request things. We can use @ and then we can use username of a people who we want to mention. And here comes another important feature of Markdown, and it is the footnotes. And once again you need to mention, I need to mention that this footnotes feature only works in the browser, and it doesn't work in VS Code thing. Like VS Code reference, if there is some other line, like currently you can say that we are present on line number 10 and we want to reference a line number 100, we can do that directly and quickly using footnotes. Like footnotes, this is a basic syntax of a footnote example. First we have to use square brackets, string inside, and then this syntax, this I don't know what to say to this symbol, but you can see it is highlighted here, and then a number, and then here on below there is a footnotes. But you need to mention that in the browser, as I have already mentioned, this only works in the browser, and wherever I will use this footnotes, but it will be rendered always at the bottom in like here. And you can see when I will click on this, it will show me directly to that it will move me directly to that footers, like, and that's why those are called footnotes. We can create footnotes in browser, and then we can directly reference them. but it only works in the browser. As I already mentioned, we can also create alerts, important warnings, type of things as well in browser. But in the same way, this thing doesn't work in local VS Code. Like we can create alerts, and here alert there is a special uh, color scheming for important. There is another special scheming color scheme, and for warning yellow as well. So in this way we can create alerts important, but and these only works in browser as well. So that was those are the main features which we can use in Markdown files. Now I should mention some other aspects of Markdown as well, like what are the different versions present for the Markdown. Obviously, when some new invention or some new thing present comes and it is an open source, then everyone will create its own variants as well. But there is a one variant which is called GFM, or GitHub flavored markup, and then there is another variant, common mark, which is called and note that VS Code uses this common mark thing. And on the browser side, on the browser side, GitHub mostly uses GitHub flavored markup, or GFM, and that was the main reason that some of the things were not working on VS Code, and those were working on browser, because browser was using, or GitHub was using GFM, and VS Code was using common mark. And there is another variant of Markdown also present, which is called multi Markdown. And I have already mentioned this thing, and all the places where Markdown files are being used. And it's a very simple syntax. Some basic features I am mentioning right now of Markdown. It is platform independent, like you can use Markdown files on browser, on Windows, on Linux, on Mac environment. Portability is also not a good issue in Markdown files. Version controlling is also, like there is a very important or file readme.md present, which is almost present in every repository, and that file basically contains some basic information about that repository. So we can say that MD files can be used in version controlling. And accessibility is also very important point in Markdown. I am not going into detail of this thing, but I need to mention that Markdown files, some Markdown file versions have a feature that while previewing them, we can use for partial blind people as well. Previews are shown in such a way that those are compatible with the partial blind people as well. So accessibility is also a very important feature for Markdown files. And I have already mentioned this point, that VS Code supports common mark and MD syntax, and these are the things which I am not going to cover in this video, but how MD files are being, but these points are worth mentioning, and these are very important points, that how MD files are being converted to HTML, and can we use MD files in email as well, or can we directly convert MD files to PDF, or first MD files should be converted to HTML and then HTML to PDF, some those further, and what are the most important Markdown processors which are being used. Like you can observe that there will be a separate processor, Markdown processor, which is being used in VS Code, and a separate processor which is being used in the browser. So there is I need to mention that this is a very important application, Delinger application. It is an open source application. You guys should see this application, that how it works, and how it processes the Markdown application, and how it converts MD files to PDF. So these are also worth mentioning points, and I think video is going too long, and I should wrap this up. So see you in another video. Tata.